Today, we're diving into a philosophy, a way to build from absolute zero. And it all starts not with some huge loan or a lucky break, but with a single idea and a tiny, almost laughable amount of money.
$50. You know, for most of us, that's dinner and a movie. It's a tank of gas. It's gone by the end of the week. But the manifesto we're looking at today sees this number not as something to spend, but as the key to a lock.
So, is it? Is it really enough to actually change your life? Enough to start your escape? According to this framework, the answer isn't just yes. It's that this small start is the only thing that truly matters.
And that, right there, is the entire mindset shift. It's about seeing the potential where everyone else just sees pocket change. This isn't about spending $50. It's about using it to engineer an escape route from a system that's built to keep you right where you are.
Okay, so let's get into this concept of the matrix lie. This is basically the collection of all the things we're told, the conventional wisdom that's designed to make sure we never try, we never build, and we never really leave the starting line.
Does any of that sound familiar? These are the walls they tell you are impossible to climb, that you need a mountain of cash, a fancy office, a whole team of people, and, some kind of magic blessing from the universe to even have a shot. The argument here is that these aren't walls. They're just shadows. They're illusions.
So how in the world do you fight an illusion? Well, you make an architect's first move. You reframe the entire problem. That little bit of money isn't a lottery ticket, it's a seed.
Think about it. That $50 wasn't blown on office supplies or coffee. It was planted. It was invested directly into systems, tools, bits of code, online platforms, things that could do the work even when the creator was asleep. It was the very first gear in a machine that would eventually pay back that initial investment 1,000 times over.
Now, an engine like that needs an operating system to run. And in this case, it's something called the black circuit. You can think of it as a really strict, no-nonsense protocol for discipline, for getting things done.
And this is the core philosophy behind it. Black is all the unseen work. It's the 4 a.m. alarm, the long hours of focus when no one is watching, the silent execution. And orange? Well, that's the result. That's the fire, the success, the electricity you can see. The protocol is simple. You cannot have the orange without the black. Period. And listen, this isn't some feel-good theory. This comes from a place of real, actual pain. The author talks about a month of getting no sleep, just staring at a screen, pushing his body so hard it literally started to break down, with things like stress-induced dermatitis. The lesson was brutal. Just grinding harder isn't the answer. It will destroy you. You have to build a system. It's about survival.
So how do you build it? The protocol lays out these 4 steps. It starts with just raw discipline. Waking up at 4 a.m. That's connecting the first wire. Then it's about adding more connections through hours of deep, focused work. But look at steps 3 and 4. This is where it gets interesting. Avoid the short circuit. That means ignore the pull of fame and validation and build in the black. Stay in the shadows, get the work done without needing applause.
And this is where the system really starts to build on itself, because you can't do it all alone. A huge piece of this is creating what's called an invisible army through automation. And this isn't framed as some luxury. It's a non-negotiable tool for survival.
The whole goal is to use that initial seed money to build systems that are always on, always running, always working for you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You're building lines of code that just execute tasks perfectly, every single time. They don't need a vacation, they don't need a lunch break. And this is how you start to buy back the one thing you can never make more of, your time.
This right here, this illustrates the new identity you're building. You stop being the worker, the person hunched over the keyboard doing every single task. You become the architect, the designer, the strategist. The AI, the code, the automated systems, they are the workers now.
You have to understand, this wasn't about some get-rich-quick scheme. It was an act of desperation, an act of self-preservation. Automation was the only path to escape the screen, to actually get time back, and to just be present, to be a human being for the people who matter.
So building the system is one thing, but actually deploying it out in the real world, well, that's described as nothing short of a war for survival, fought against some very real-world enemies.
And look, when a system like this works, the results can be exponential. That one tiny seed, when you nurture it with discipline and automate it with code, it can grow into a self-sustaining empire. But let's be clear, the
The path from one to the other is never a straight line.
And here's a critical, very practical piece of advice from the source material. Whatever you do, do not quit your day job. This whole journey involves very real battles with banks, with creditors. That stable income you have, it's not a prison. It's the fuel. It keeps the lights on while you build your escape hatch in the dark.
And the level of discipline we're talking about here is extreme. The author talks about entire months where, after paying every single bill, every creditor settlement, the family had only $20 to $50 left. For everything. That's the level of sacrifice that was required.
And a brutal journey like that, you just can't win it alone. Having a partner who buys into the vision, who shares that discipline with you, that is presented as the ultimate form of wealth. It's worth more than any amount of money in a bank account.
Which brings us to the final call to action. It's called the EFP2R Protocol. That stands for Escape, Freedom, Power, Purpose, and Revolution. You see, it's not just about starting a business. It's about fundamentally changing your role in the world. It's about becoming the architect of your own life. So what's the end game in all of this? It's not fame. It's not a constant stream of notifications. True power is defined as sovereignty. It's the freedom of just knowing your systems are working without needing to constantly check a screen for validation. It's the ability to disconnect and just live.
And that's the manifesto, right there. The whole point isn't to get public recognition. It's to achieve personal freedom, do the hard, silent work in the black, and earn the results that burn in the orange. So the question this leaves us with is, what seed are you planting today? And what kind of empire are you going to build?